This is a carb tuning guide for a high-performance carb on a GSR 40 engine. It should be the same for pretty much any carb with high and low adjustments. I'm going to try and walk you through a tuning demonstration, and hopefully this will be able to help everybody out with tuning. This is GoPed Mama's GSR 40 engine with a 603 carb, TGN manifold, and mild porting. Okay, here we go. It's pretty close to tuned right now. Let's see how it's, before I touch it, what it sounds like. Good idle, good throttle response, saved the rev pretty high for a stock 40 with a stock coil. I don't know where the settings are right now. Let's just close them all up and start from scratch. So I'm going to close everything up. Never turn in too tight. Always go gently when you close the needles. And idle, I'm just going to open it so that it's not touching anymore. And base setting, let's start it, say 2 turns each, low and high to be safe. Half, 1, 1.5, 2. Half, 1, 1.5, 2. Low adjustment's always the closest one to the engine on high performance carbs. Idle, let's just go by watching it until it just starts to open the butterfly. Just a little bit there. Probably gonna have to hold the idle on, but let's see if it starts and let's see how it runs, and we'll go from there. You can see it idles barely, real choppy, lopey idle. It's definitely too rich, so let's see what we can do. I leaned it out a quarter turn. It still seems too rich and idle's too low. Let's lean it out a little bit more before I mess with the idle. That actually sounded pretty good. I'm going to go leaner to show you what it's like if you go too lean. You heard rich, now let's hear lean on the low end. even though I can still get RPMs out of it, you can see it bogs really bad. It's just too lean. I went a half a turn lean. So let's go back to the setting I had. Let's count and see where that's at. That is 1 1/4 turns on the low side. That seems to be where it wants to run. And the idle's about right. You don't want the idle too high where your clutch is engaging, and you don't want it too low where you're going to foul plug at long idles. And for the high, you can only bench tune it so much, and then you're going to have to take it on the road and tune it further. But let's give it some revs and see what it sounds like. It definitely sounds pretty rich. You get that gurgling sound at top speed instead of revving really high. Now let's go lean and see what it does if it's too lean on high end. Okay, this engine apparently likes to run pretty lean. That's only 1 turn out. Let's go a half a turn out on the high and see what it does. Okay, we're at 1 1/4 on the low with the idle set. Good bass settings, good idle. Only half a turn out. It should be lean on the high. Now it idles okay. It has a little bit of response, but it's just there's no feel when you gas it. So let's go back to 1 turn. That seemed to be pretty close where it wanted to run. Let's go 1 1/4. That's pretty lean. So let's go 1 1/4. It's basically 1 1/4 on the high and 1 1/4 on the low right now. And that sounds pretty darn good.